here in the final furlong, and it's authentic, and he pulls away with authority.
Here's King Dermo. King Dermo. He wins it off impressively.
Honor AP, a length and a half. It will be Honor AP, a very impressive winner of the Run Happy Santa Anita Derby.
Manny Franco shuts down TIZ THE LAW, and he's moving away. Time to respect the law. TIZ THE LAW.
Courtland Simmons with you here at the CS Racing Report, and it's almost post time for the 18-horse field in the Kentucky Derby. Let's take a look at the field. Number 16, Honor AP, is another one of those horses that has a bit of forwardly placed tactics, so this post position may not affect him too much. 5-1, 102 Equibase speed figure, 102 Beyer speed figure, 106 Equibase speed figure. So he's got good numbers, but in his share belief stakes, I think that in that race he showed some speed, and then he got hooked wide even though it was a 4-horse field. Came back on in the stretch, was never going to win, but got up for the place spot. It wasn't a great run. It wasn't a means to an end, considering that everybody believes with that pedigree that he wants that 1.25 miles and that he's going to relish the added ground. We're going to certainly find out in this Kentucky Derby. As he's ridden, he'll be ridden by Mike Smith. He's trained by John Sheriffs. It's the same combination that bought you the 2005 Derby winner, Giacomo. Honor AP, post number 16, 5-1. Number 17, what more can be said about the favorite, TIZ THE LAW? He's 3-5. He's 6 for 7 in his career. His speed figures are just off the charts all the way across the board. The only thing that can get him beat is TIZ THE LAW, and a lot of trouble in and of itself during the running of this race, And he seems to be the kind of horse that even if you bottle him up, once he sees a seam and he sees daylight, he takes off he has a turn of acceleration that is far beyond anyone in the field, or so it would appear going into this race. The 17 might not be the perfect post, but since he's a forwardly placed type of individual, it shouldn't bother him that much, along with the 18 Authentic, who rounds out the field. He's 8-1 for trainer Bob Baffert, the second of the charge. He's 4 for 5 in his career, the winner of the Haskell, the winner of the San Felipe, but people have been on a daily Derby distance diatribe with Authentic, believing he can't get the 1.25 miles. There's no question, based on what happened in the Haskell, where he streaked away, and then as Bob Baffert and Mike Smith, who rode him that day, Johnny Velazquez will be in the irons this time, that he got a little distracted. I believe there's a little bit of that, but it may have to do with people's contention that he got tired and that distance was getting to him. We're going to find out. He's had 6 weeks to get ready to prove people otherwise. Authentic, 8-1, post position number 18 for Bob Baffert, 113 Equibase 100 Beyer speed figure, which brings us to the horses that will be chasing these likely front runners, and that is going to be this cluster and cavalry of closers. And the question that I have, whether you've posed it to yourself or not, is who's going to show a little more speed in this race? Who's going to tactically be the Country House of 2020? Country House was a dead closer, and then Flavien Prat did a great job of getting him into the body of the race, finding seams around dead horses in the running of the race on the backside. That usually is what happens in a race like the Kentucky Derby. Which one of these horses, based on the numbers, do you like going in? Keeping in mind that some of the higher number horses may regress because of the fact that, number one, they don't like the track or the distance, or they can't overcome any traffic problems and the like, one or the other, if not all of those things. And then you have horses on the lower end that are subject to improve, that want the 1.25 miles, may not even have to worry, or may not even be discouraged by having trouble, and will fire at 1.25 miles. That's where you have to determine which one of these horses can improve. And when I look at these horses to throw out, some of you and even myself I found interesting: Necker Island, Sole Volante, South Bend, Enforceable, and Major Fed. Major Fed's buyer is a little too low. South Bend's numbers aren't bad. Sole Volante's numbers are a little bit on the low side. And Necker Island, you know, his buyer, he and Major Fed have disturbingly low buyers. And the same could be said for a couple other horses. And when you look at horses that are in a position with good buyers, attachment rates U.S. time form is very, very good. His Beyer isn't spectacular. His Ellis Park Derby run indicates to me against a horse the caliber of Art Collector that he's on the improve, and he's the horse out of this group that I like the best. I put Max Player in a separate place because he's already proven at 1.25 miles, even though it wasn't a great run in the Travers, and he drew well. He drew the number 2, and I think the number 2 is going to help him for a couple reasons. Number 1, you're automatically going to be allowed, you can allow horses to outrun you to the first turn. So that means he'll be behind a wall. He will have to work out a trip, but as I aforementioned, seams will open up, and he should be able to work out and navigate a run. And then we'll see if he's got multiple gears, which he hasn't really displayed, but he will get an ideal trip in here unless he gets banged around and he gets shuffled back, or he's disinterested in running. So I think that Max Player drew well, not overwhelmed with him prior to seeing the draw, but I do think it helps him a little bit. I'm not as high on him as a lot of people are, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not quite as sold on Honor AP, even though I do think he is legitimately possibly a threat, but I like attachment rate in here to kick in. I like his chances. I like the fact that I think he'll like Churchill, and I like his run at Ellis Park, and I think out of these horses, he seems to be the one that is not going to regress backwards like some of these other ones that I think are questionable. So that's what I'm looking at. As far as the horses, and another danger, in addition to it being practical to show forwardly placed tactics rather than sticking to that same typical strategy, is the fact that the front runners and the stalkers could control the race where it becomes a merry-go-round, a lot like 2002 when War Emblem, Proud Citizen, and Perfect Drift were 1, 2, 3 all the way around that racetrack. And so that is the danger with the closers. If they get too far removed from the front runners, that presents itself. That these horses like TIZ the Law, New York Traffic, Authentic, 1,000 Words, Storm the Court are going to be in a merry-go-round. Storm the Court out of the stalk and pouncers, though, represents these low-speed figures and represents a problem. If he decides to go after these horses, I think it's going to cost him. Though some would say maybe he wants the distance. I think the numbers belie that, but again, stranger things have happened in the Kentucky Derby. So I would think out of those horses, you look at King Guillermo, 1,000 Words, Honor AP. If you want to go by the Randy Moss method of who's run the fastest in the past, these horses really, really fit in, and they have the right running style. So that's going to be the thing you have to look at as we transition to the picks. And based on the Randy Moss method of speed, with me, I go with the 17, the 10, the 16, and then either the 18, the 15, or the 6. So that would be number 17. That would be TIZ the Law, 1,000 Words, Honor AP, and then either Authentic, New York Traffic, or King Guillermo. That's your speed pick in Super number 3. The upset special. Now, most people are going to focus their wagering on the place, show, and the 4th place to fill out their superfectas, knowing or believing that TIZ the Law is not going to get beat. That's going to be the focus of a lot of people's wagers. But if you want to try to hit a home run, I'm not saying this is the perfect swing, but I'm looking at either the 18 or the 10, maybe Authentic or 1,000 Words. Most of you think Honor AP, but I'm looking at 18, 10, then 16 Honor AP, 17 TIZ the Law, 3rd, and then either the number 2 Max Player filling out the try, or King Guillermo. I get the feeling King Guillermo, with his tactics and his numbers, that should add up in this race. And then the final pick, for those of you who still aren't in shock over the upset special, is, I'm no dummy, I think TIZ the Law is the horse to beat. I think your focus should be on filling out the superfecta, and I have him winning it with attachment rate, finishing a surprising second, much in the way of Commanding Curve behind California Chrome, or Invisible Ink behind Monarchos' Freak sub 2-minute Derby. And then I have 16 Honor AP, and then maybe the number 2 Max Player, or the number 6 King Guillermo, or the 10 or the 18. You also could pick from that cluster of closers, but that's my final pick for this Kentucky Derby. That would be TIZ the Law. Doesn't sound like earth-shattering stuff in terms of handicapping this race, but nevertheless, we'll cover it with the recap of the Kentucky Derby right here at the CS Racing Report.
Down the stretch they come in the Derby.
Inside the final furlong, do you believe this? King Guillermo.
And he pulls away with authority. Authentic. Honor AP coming with a big